And when I asked Henry which of these memories he'd be happy me to include, he said, none of them. But as best man, I'm particularly happy the big day has finally arrived, and we all get to celebrate it together with Henry and Elaine. I'm also glad that Elaine picked the colour of our suits. Otherwise, I'd probably stood in front of you wearing Henry's favourite, baby blue. Maybe you've seen a picture of this suit, you know what I mean. So I first met Henry when I was age 10. It was actually the summer before we started secondary school. And since then, I've come to know Henry as a man of many qualities. Some of them good, others not so good. But it's my job today to share with you some of my observations, to give you a little bit of insight into the real Henry. So first, as you may know, you probably all know, that Henry is one of the most laid-back individuals you're ever likely to meet. He's practically horizontal. And I truly believe that Henry was born this way. Apparently, he didn't get around to speaking for himself until he was 19 months. Instead, he relied on his sister Georgie. She was the one that did the talking, using a language which only they understood. And then one day, it happened. Henry said his first word. Marmite. Love him or hate him, only Henry could come at the world like that. But this laid-back approach did get Henry, sometimes into tricky situations, especially when it came to work. At school, Henry didn't quite get round to sorting out his work experience placement. So instead, was given the only job left at everybody's favourite family restaurant, Brewster the Bear's Fun Factory. Arriving on his first day, Henry expected to be waiting tables. So imagine his delight when they handed him a costume and told him to entertain small children. That's dressed up as Brewster the Bear. So, in case you're not familiar with Brewster the Bear, and so that perhaps Henry could relive old times, I thought it was while bringing along a little friend.
Oh, yes.
Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you Henry, the children's entertainer.
Hey!
I'm good authority, it's actually Henry. It will not surprise you to learn that Henry's early career as a children's entertainer did not start out well. His new costume ensured that he was unable to see where he was going. And apparently, cuddling what can only be described as Winnie the Pooh's evil twin was not exactly the children's idea of fun. The sight of an approaching oversized grizzly sent most running in tears. Proof I'm sure you don't need, but I'm sure you'll agree, that Henry really does have the most remarkable effect on people. But I am pleased to report that Henry did eventually manage to secure a proper job. A job with prospects. A job to make any self-respecting man feel proud. Flipping burgers at McDonald's. This is my speech. Unfortunately, Henry didn't last long at McDonald's, unlike me. And he left without a single gold star to his name. And when I asked Henry why he'd walked out on the opportunity of a lifetime, he replied, because it was minging. But personally, I think he left because it was only a matter of time before they made him dress up as Ronald McDonald. To the relief of kids everywhere, Brewster the Bear was as good as it got. Growing up, Henry was pretty untidy. And to this day, I couldn't tell you the colour of his bedroom carpet. By his mid-late teens, this untidiness took a turn for the worse. Even his cleaner said, I refuse to clean that boy's sheets ever again. It can't have been pleasant. At Leeds Uni, by Christmas, we had to cordon off the kitchen in his flat. It was condemned as a no-go area. Every glass, cup, mug, pot, pan, plate and bowl lay dirty to the following May. Not to mention the months of black bin bags, half-eaten kebabs and pizza boxes. So Elaine, you've made some great progress here. We're going to get Henry to clean out his car. We'll be laughing. But, you know, on the plus side, Henry does have some strong points. He's very competitive. On the downside, his version of events are not always entirely accurate. He's been able to fold a Monopoly board in half in a strop, and once refused to play Trivial Pursuit for 6 months when his sister Georgie won a sports question. He once refused to let 2 5-year-old twins win at a game of pairs, telling his mum that they needed to learn. But I guess we can let him off the latter. After all, he was only 18. But at school, Henry would have you believe that he was one of our star basketball players. Or one of the fastest 100-metre runners in our year. Anybody who's seen Henry waddle, never mind run, would know this is simply not possible. 2 miles an hour. To my knowledge, that's top speed for a penguin. Football was never Henry's forte either. Still isn't. But he claims his biggest sporting achievement came in year 9 when he won the intercity football team.
Yes, Henry.
No way. Fix.
In the eyes of a 14-year-old, this is winning the World Cup. However, his claim has been heavily disputed for the last 15 years. Some still believing it never actually happened. But Henry, seeing this is your big day, I'd like to present you with this medal in recognition of your achievement. So, Henry. And Paul, I don't know why you're laughing. I've got yours here, so you can see me later on.
Top goals.
Henry and Elaine, as you know, bought their first house together a few years ago. And Elaine spent a lot of time and effort doing it up. When I first visited, Henry proudly showed me their newly tiled hallway floor, which he tiled, apparently. When I asked Elaine, knowing that Henry's not exactly Mr. B&Q, she said, Henry did a brilliant job of standing around, handing the tiles to Dad Pete, who actually did all the work. When I asked Elaine, what Henry does do around the house, she replied, to be fair, he does one hell of a job of taking the bins out. Henry, that's powerful, truly man's work, so take pride. But there is something Henry does have. He has a wonderful gift for connecting with people. So it was no surprise to learn that when he first met Elaine's family at a party when she left for New York, they instantly hit it off. The fact that they're all drunk at the time probably helped him. But there is one quality, a quality which came up time and time again when speaking with Henry's friends and family. Henry's loyalty. Loyalty to his friends and loyalty to those that he loves. In the 20 years that I've known Henry, I've never met anybody as loyal and as true as him. I've seen it with other people, and I've also experienced it myself. He's a true friend.
Told you they lost their virginity together.
Thanks, Paul. And it was James, one of the ushers, who said on the night they first met, they'll get married. Now, James, you're not often right about many things. But you were certainly right about this. Elaine brings out the best in Henry, and as a couple, they support and complement each other perfectly. A bit like the rings earlier on. They were clearly destined to be together from the moment they met. So, ladies and gentlemen, will you please be upstanding? Join me in a toast to Henry and Elaine. And I've been given a job to remind you that we've got some photos and an album here, so if you can take time later on to complete that for us, that would be great. Henry and Elaine, really appreciate that.